At it again, and we've got a hilarious story here today. Jussie Smollett. Yeah, the guy who allegedly faked a whole scene at night in Chirac. Yeah, okay. I don't know who in their right mind will be walking around at night in a city nicknamed Chirac. Yeah, probably not a real story, but hey, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you are new, and let's dive in.
All right, it was only a year ago. Remember, actor Jussie Smollett was sentenced to 150 days in jail for faking a hate crime.
I'm not the biggest fan of Hannity. Does anybody else feel the same way? Like, we'll talk about this today with Hannity, but I'm not the biggest fan of Hannity. You know, he's said some questionable things, especially more recently, that I'm like, I got to give him the eyebrow raise. Like, are you really with us? Are you? Maybe it's just me. Y'all let me know in the comment section.
Against himself in downtown Chicago. Now, that happened back in 2019. Now, Smollett claimed that he was attacked on a freezing January night by two, quote, white supremacists wearing MAGA hats that shouted, "This is Trump country," and specifically targeted him because of his race and his sexual orientation. Of course, we now know that all of that was false. Smollett actually hired two of his associates to stage the attack, and they are now telling their story, or their side of the story, for the first time. In the new Fox Nation special, Anatomy of a Hoax, take a look at this.
So we got here with 10 minutes to spare, and we had to plan our escape route to survey the land. His building is actually right here, right above the stairs that we're going to attack him at. We made sure we got there at 2 a.m. sharp.
On the dot.
On the dot. We had no phones because he did not want us to bring any phones. He said, so we don't lose them. I don't know if that's really the reason. That's him. Is that him?
That's that Nick.
It's that Nick.
Get that Nick.
Oh, he's moving fast. Come on, let's get him.
Get that Nick.
Let's get him. As we crossed the street, we said hey to get his attention.
Hey, Nick.
Hey! He turned around, looked at us, and that's when we started yelling the famous slurs he wanted us to yell. Hey!
Aren't you that Empire?
Hey, Empire fat Nick. It's MAGA country.
Yeah.
And then he said, what did you say to me? And then that's when I threw the first punch at him. And then I threw him to the ground. And after I threw him to the ground, he had no bruise. I wanted it to look more real. So then I threw him to the ground. After I threw him to the ground, I used my knuckle and gave him a noogie. So I went like this.
Yo, I haven't heard the word noogie. Oh, man. Gave him a noogie. I ain't heard that in some years, man. Sheesh. Jussie Smuchie got the noogie. Oh, man. That's all bad.
Why did I do that? To give him a scar, to give him a mark, to make it look real, like he really did get his ass beat.
All right, joining us now for their first live TV interview are those two brothers, Ola and Bola Osundairo, and their attorney, Gloria Rodriguez. Great to see you. Wow. You ever think it would become this big?
No, we did not.
Not in a million years, no, sir.
Okay, so this thing begins to get into the public consciousness, and people are rightly, I mean, if that had really happened, I'd be angry. I think most people deplore racism. Most people deplore people that are anti-gay. They should mind their own damn business,
Right.
in my view. And so all of a sudden this is viral and believed. What are you guys thinking?
Before I allow my brother to answer that question, I just first want to apologize to everyone in the audience, the country, and anyone who might have been affected by this directly. When we were asked to partake in this, we really didn't foresee the ramifications of what something like this could do to the country.
You're sorry you participated in it.
Yeah. We allowed our ambition to cloud our judgments.
Were you getting paid?
It wasn't about the money.
Yeah. It was. What was it about for you then?
The opportunity.
Opportunity to.
We were actors, so
We are actors.
We are actors, and Jussie, right?
I'm acting as a talk show host.
You want to do a
I might
hoax
agree with
together?
that.
I'm hoping one day. Maybe I'll get there.
So
what'd you say?
Jussie, you want to do a hoax together?
I'm hoping one day. Maybe I'll get there.
So Jussie was in a position where he could help us, because in the acting world, it's who you know, not what
Sure.
you know. So us helping him out would have helped us out.
Yeah. Well, you're the attorney. You take on this case, and it explodes. And you did a great job. By the way, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Right? What was your initial instinct? Because you have clients that might be legal jeopardy here. The whole world is watching. It gets tough in those moments.
You know what? I had been doing these kinds of crisis situations for 10 years by the time I had met the brothers. So my immediate thought wasn't, oh my God, this is a national spotlight case. My immediate thought was, oh my God, I have two innocent guys here that are being accused of doing this horrific hate crime.
Yeah.
And so my natural instinct really was to first, unlike a lot of the journalists that were out there reporting this, my instinct was to first get a handle on the facts. And that same night that I met them, I went by myself, had to cancel my plans with my wife and say, I got to go down to the scene of the crime.
Right.
And I looked around, and I just remember thinking, it is dark, it is late out, and there's nobody out here. It's super safe. This is ridiculous how this would happen.
And this particular night, it was freezing. No criminal would even want to work that night, right?
Night, yeah, exactly.
On a cold night, we'll take the night off. I'll get back to work tomorrow night, stealing and robbing and killing, especially in Chicago. All right, so you go through this, and everyone, our audience was laughing because some of it's really funny. Maybe you're really good actors. That's part of it. But there is a sad part of it here, because there is this impulse among people that they want to believe the worst in human beings, that people are racist, and that Trump supporters are sexist and racist and homophobic and xenophobic, Islamophobic, transphobic. I mean,
Man, I don't even buy into that stuff anymore. It's been said so many times. Like, it's just like, whatever. Like, I'm basically at the point where, like, if somebody calls me that, I'm like, yeah, sure, I am. Don't care. Because obviously we all know that 99.9% of people that are accused of being those things truly aren't, like myself. So, like, you want to call me the R word or, phobic this or phobic that, it means nothing. Those words mean zero. Like, it's been thrown around so much. So at this point, yeah, sure, whatever, because it doesn't mean anything. You call anybody and everybody that simply disagrees with you, all these types of names. So sure, I guess, and I want to make it clear, so, these leftists don't get it confused. I'm not any one of those things, but they throw it around so much. It's just like, all right, well, I'm not going to keep playing this game with you, so whatever. Sure. Maybe more people need to do that. And maybe that's when it all ends. I don't know. Y'all tell me.
as a conservative, I'm called these names all the time. None of those allegations are true.
Facts.
I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I think he created every man, woman, and child on this earth. So that's where, people are saying, wow,
Facts.
you're demonizing a whole group of people. Have you gotten to know people now that are conservative and maybe realize that, wow, that could impact their lives? He hasn't. You're trying to let your brother cover for you.
Not only have we gotten to know people that were like that, our parents are pretty conservative. Although they are Democrats, but in their thinking, they are conservative. And in turn, we are conservative in a way.
I found that a lot too, and I've talked about that. Like, I feel like a lot of, people that vote Democrat in their daily life, the way that they think, the way that they go about, certain things, and if you sit down and ask them questions, they're actually conservatives. But Democrats have convinced them that they need to vote Democrat. Has anybody else ever had that experience? Like, any of my black folks out there, y'all know. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know other groups, were raised the same way, but I can only speak from, the black person's perspective. Obviously, Joe would say that I'm not black, but, we'll save that conversation for another day. But I feel like in a lot of black households, like, you're kind of raised in a conservative way, especially if you start asking questions about certain things like the Democrats are pushing nowadays. Like, the answer is no to like almost every, and I told you guys about this story where I had a conversation with somebody that's black, that's, a lifelong Democrat. And I was asking them, hey, do you agree with this? Do you agree with this? How about this? Do you like this? Do you like that? And I'm like, well, Democrats, these Democrat politicians are pushing or completely agree with all of the things that you just said that you don't agree with. But Democrats have found some kind of way to brainwash folks, man. It's crazy. Let me know if anybody else has had the same experience with their family, friends, or has seen, a similar type of situation. Let me know.
We have conservative views.
We have conservative views, more conservative views than liberal views anyway. Yeah. So.
And hard R, Republican my whole life, proud of it. And some of the local papers, when I had ran for a little.
When she said hard R, I didn't know what she was talking about. Hey, did that cross anybody else's mind? She said hard R Republican. First she said hard R. I was like, what? Hard R. She said hard R Republican. And I was still like, oh, okay, Republican. It took my brain like a couple of seconds to like, oh, she's talking about Republican. I was so lost for a half a second there. I was like, hard R. What is she talking about? Goodness gracious.
Local election, I had been running as a Republican for over a year, and they were still printing that I was a Democrat because I'm a Latina. And I must be a token
next time you
Democrat.
run, I want to support your campaign. So come on this show.
Will do.
I'll tell you the best thing. Thank you for coming. I think people need to go to Fox Nation and watch this. It's really interesting. And the best thing that you both said is you apologized. And you know what I saw? Sincerity. Thank you for apologizing.
Thank you.
Wow. So the hoax all comes crashing down. Well, I mean, it already came crashing down because of the whole case involving that, and I believe he had to like pay the city back and everything too, for that whole situation, if I remember correctly. I didn't follow the situation super close when it was actually going down and in the news. Didn't really care that much, to be completely honest. But it is funny that somebody would try to create a hoax like this. Crazy. And honestly, I'm sure it won't be the last time. I'm sure it won't be the last. Anyway, y'all let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.